friends, welcome to another episode of the Cozy Cottage Crochet podcast. My name is Hannah. This is Nova, and this is a podcast all about crochet, a little bit of knitting, sometimes sewing, and generally living the yarniest life possible in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I live. How are you? Yeah. Someone is eating goldfish for many reasons. The first being I'm trying to bribe her to do this introduction with me. The second is we had an injury. You want to show the camera your boo-boo?
Boo-boo.
Oh, yes. We have a boo-boo, and I'm really not sure how it happened. I think maybe she bit her finger. But there were a lot of tears, in the middle of Sam's Club. And the only thing that saved us was Mickey Mouse Goldfish and sitting on the floor in the book section and reading a book for 10 minutes and then having a hot dog. Where did you go? Can only see your hair. If you're looking for me anywhere on the interweb, you can find me as the Cozy Cottage Crochet on Instagram and on Facebook. We have a group for this podcast called the Cozy Cottage Crochet Ravelry group. That's all linked down below. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything about the podcast specifically, please do shoot me an email. I have an email address set up specifically for this only, and it is thecozycottagecrochet@gmail.com. Do you want to say some words to your adoring fans? Can you say Elmo?
Elmo.
Can you say cookie? Cookie. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Hi. Can you say love you?
Love.
Can you say goldfish?
Go.
Goldfish. What else? Can you say all done?
God.
Can you say mosquito?
Little.
Because I just saw one buzzing and it's probably going to bite me and I'm going to freak out like I did in the last podcast episode. I do have a giveaway winner to announce. We have the Cozy Summer Mal going on right now until, I think I said the end of September. It may be longer than that. But I have a giveaway because I randomly drew a winner a couple of days ago from the chatter thread in the Ravelry group of everyone posting their plans. And it was post number 70 that came up. That is the Ravelry name Guitarra Royala, and I believe your name is Shay. So I will send you a message on Ravelry. Please respond with your full name and mailing address, and I will get the prize in the mail to you. It is a giant, amazing fairy tale project bag and a whole bunch of alpaca yarn in blue, which is just delightful, and I really want to hoard it, but alpaca bothers my skin. So I want to share the love. So just respond to me and I will get that prize out to you in the mail right away. Wow! What are you doing? Is that funny? What if I get you? I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. Get a baby. Hopefully those baby giggles are making your day better. I know you're seeing this on a Saturday, but it's a Thursday and it's about to rain and it's the middle of the day and it has been a week, y'all. Num num. It has been 2 weeks. An insane 2 weeks. I do have some progress to show you on things once this one goes down for a nap, but not as much progress as I would like because pretty much for both of the weekends I didn't get any crochet time,
Mama.
which I will talk to you about. Nova, do you want to come say bye-bye to everyone?
Bye.
No, they can't see you. Come here, they can't see you.
No.
They can't see you. They can't see you. Look, there you are. Can you say bye-bye?
Bye.
Can you say night-night?
Nani.
You say sleepy time. Say love you. Boo-boo. Oh, the boo-boo. Mwah.
Boo-boo.
Ugh, why did I kiss that? It was just in her mouth. It's not the worst thing that's happened to me since having a kid. Ugh. That was slimy. Okay, say bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm back. The baby is in her crib. She asked for night-night time. She took off her shoes. She found her teddy bear. She put him in her crib. What is even happening? I don't know. She's had a tough couple of days. And so have I, honestly. Hormonally, this is not a great week for me. And so I'm better than I was yesterday, but I'm extremely tired. But we have a lot to talk about. I have 2 pairs of socks, 1 hat, 2 cardigans, 1 knit and 1 crochet, and 1 shawl to show you, and some Happy Meal. So let's just jump right in, shall we? I am wearing my granny stripe cardigan. This is the fingering weight version. This pattern has been out since last year. I made it with combining two advent calendars, and I just want to show you the back because it's my favorite part. And I'm wearing it because it goes perfectly with my pink shirt, and it's super comfy, and it's a wearable blanket, but fashion. And I wanted to show you because the DK version is currently in testing and will be out at the beginning of September, just in time for it to get a little bit chilly in certain places of the world. Not in Florida, obviously. That's not gonna happen until January, but for the rest of you who live in cold climates, this DK version will be out before winter. And it's currently in testing. One of my testers already finished, which is crazy. And they have like another 6-7 weeks to finish. So this is the DK version. It is neon and I adore it. This amazing, amazing yarn is from Shella, who is unique with fiber, and I will link her Etsy shop and her Instagram down below. You should follow her because this fade is everything. Look at it. Oh my gosh. I just love it so, so, so much. And the person who has finished is Jen from Cinnamon Stitches, who I know so many of you are here from Jen's channel, and I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. And thank you, Jen, for testing this pattern. She literally wrote a review of this pattern, did a 40-minute video on it. And she loved it a lot, and I watched it. I have very, very little podcast watching time lately since Nova was born. Not lately, it's been a year and a half, but someone had sent me that video specifically, so I watched it while I was cleaning up after Nova, and it for real made me cry, in a happy way. In a happy way. So just the kindest words that anyone could ever say. So thank you, Jen. Thank you for everyone for your support. I'm excited that the DK version will be out soon, in a couple of months, and I'm working on another pattern, which I will talk about later because we're currently having words with each other, this other pattern and I. Let's start with knitting, shall we? I'm gonna start with 2 pairs of socks because those are the easiest things to talk about, and then a hat, and then I'll talk crochet and knitting, cardigans. So my socks are living in Slip Stitch Studio sock bags. You may notice that these are not the same 2 sock bags that I've used every single time since I've been knitting socks. My one sock bag that had popsicles on it, there was a gift from Claudia of the Crochet Luna podcast, who is amazing and a dear friend. It was really dirty, so I was like, okay, I just need to wash it. And then the other one, which has rainbow llamacorns, is my travel project, and it's in my big red leather bag. Except that I realized when I took it out, I was like, oh, since I'm washing this one, I'll wash the other one, that it's getting stained on the bottom from the red leather. What happened was a whole bottle of water got spilled inside my leather bag, which is tragic, I know. It happened. And the leather dried just fine, but in the spot where it spilled, it now kind of bleeds a little bit, which isn't really a problem because my purse is red leather also, and usually just random crap just shoved in there, but I don't want my rainbow llamacorn bag to have a red stripe on it. So I washed it, some of it came out, but what I did is I switched to a darker project bag, and this was a gift from my lovely friend Emmy, and this one is yours. So this is my travel project. This is my home sock project bag. And I'm just gonna use these 2 for a little while and see how it feels to give the other ones a break. So we'll start with the home project. I have a little bit of progress to show you, just a little bit. I am making a sock set. It is from Big Little Yarn Company. This was a gift from my lovely friend Amanda. She sent me a superwash merino nylon sock set, 75/25. This is the colorway Matsuni. Whoa. And this is the colorway Strawberry Jam. So this is the mini to do contrast toes, heels, and cuffs. I will show you the sock I did last. So this sock you saw last time, it is completed. I mean, I haven't woven in the ends, obviously. Obviously. But the sock itself is done. So I'll show you what the second one is going to look like. There we go. And the last time, in the last episode, I literally had only cast on. So there was the cast on and 1 more row of the cuff. So what I have done is I finished the cuff and done all of the stockinette, and I am just at the point right now where I would put in the contrast heel. So what I do is I cast on 64 stitches on 2.25 millimeter 9-inch Chalgu red lace circular needles. They're my favorite. At the moment, I'm just loving knitting top-down socks. I used to only ever knit them toe up for a really long time, and then now I'm knitting them top-down. I don't know why. It's just how I like to do them at the moment. I'm sure at some point that will change. So I do 15 rows of ribbing, then I do 15 rows of stockinette. I insert a shadow wrap heel from Denise, who is Earth Tones Girl. Her sock exploration sock pattern just fits my heel really well. I do 5.5 inches of stockinette for the foot, and I do Mina's rounded toe. Mina, who is the knitting expat, from her 2 at a time sock recipe, 2 at a time vanilla sock recipe. It's all linked on my Ravelry page if you need it. So yeah, I've made a little bit of progress, and I'm about ready to start the heel. So of course this will probably stall for a bit. I always get stuck on heels. I don't know why, it just happens. That's sock number 1. Sock number 2 is my travel sock, and actually this has gotten a lot of attention because, why did it get a lot of attention? I've been to the Children's Museum a couple of times with Nova, and I can like walk around and knit behind her while she touches everything and can't get into trouble because it's all for kids. So that's pretty exciting. And I feel like I was somewhere else where I was working on this for a while. Oh yeah, the Backstreet Boys concert. Was I working on this at the Backstreet Boys concert? I think I was. So it is Fiber Nymph Dye Works. It is the self-striping Christmas yarn that looks like this, green and white with red speckles. And that was a 50-gram ball, and also came with pink and white with green speckles. So there are 2 50-gram balls, and then I pulled out some Knit Pick Stroll in a dark green for the heels, toes, and cuffs. And I'm gonna say, I don't like it. It's not terrible, it's just not what I was going for. I thought that the green would tie these 2 pairs of socks together and be really, really great, but it's like too dark. It's fine, it's a sock, I'm gonna wear it, who cares? But for the second pair in this pink, I'm gonna go look in my stash for a mini or any other kind of yarn that I think will go better. And I will show you what I'm talking about. So this is the green. This is the sock. So I just started the toe decreases, so I'm at the point where I would decrease every single round. And I just don't love, like it's too dark or something. I don't know what it is, because you would think that this would go. It's not even that the greens don't match. It's more this and this that I don't like together. This and this, like if the whole sock was like that, I think it would be beautiful. But for some reason, this next to this really bothers me. I do love how it worked out that like it was like 2 full stripes pretty much, and then the heel. So that's pretty great. Like I said, this is not a deal breaker. I'm gonna wear these socks. I'm gonna totally wear these socks. They're socks. Like, who cares if I'm not 1000% happy with the contrast toe and heel color? However, for the pink version, I just don't think I want to use this green. And I think I have a more light pink or reddish kind of mini from the advent calendar that I got last year at Christmas. So I'm gonna go digging through and see if I can find something that makes me feel a little happier. Like, it's fine, but fine's not really what I'm shooting for, is it? So yeah, I'm on the toe decreases. As you can see, I switched to magic loop. I can do some of the toe decreases on a 9-inch circular, not all of them. And when I get, basically the way Mina's rounded toe works is you do, before you start decreasing every round, you do some sets of decreases with plain rounds in between. And so I can do all of those on my 9-inch circular, and then when it gets to the point where I decrease every round, I have to switch to magic loop, which I don't love, I'm gonna be honest. I just like going around in a circle, but it's only for a tiny amount of time. A little amount of time, maybe 20 minutes of sock knitting to do those decreases. And then the sock is done. And then of course I have to Kitchener stitch, which I also don't love, but I am getting faster at it, and I can finally do it without looking up how to do it. Like, for some reason, Kitchener stitch for like a whole year, maybe 2 years now, has been something I've had to look up every single time, especially to get it started. I just can't seem to remember how to do it. I don't know why it doesn't want to stick in my brain. I have no idea, but it doesn't want to stick in my brain. So I've had to look it up. But the last sock I did, that Matsumi and Strawberry Jam sock, I totally did the Kitchener stitch without looking at all. So maybe it's finally in there. Maybe. It's knit, purl, purl, knit. And to start it, you start with purl, knit, and then knit, purl, purl, knit. If you Kitchener stitch, then you know all about what that means. And if you don't, bless you, because your life is better. The next project I have been working on is my sockhead hat. I was living in this little Tanny Casey sock project bag that has a sheep, which I love. And this is my meditation, my morning meditation project. So I've been working on this, I think, out of the last 14 days, I have knit on this 12 out of 14 days in the morning. Usually 2 rounds. Every once in a while I'll get 3 rounds done before the baby wakes up, but not usually. So I have made some significant progress. I'm actually done with the ribbing. This is Ula plus Leah. This is 100% cashmere from Free Range Goats in the colorway Crimson, and it is 400 yards for 100 grams. This yarn was sent to me by my lovely friend Lisa, and this is how far I've gotten. That's my stitch marker from where I was last time. So this has been about a 5-week project so far. I've only worked on this in the mornings. It's my morning meditation project. And I guarantee you when this is done, I'm going to then start another socket hat because it's so mindless. And I have been just knitting in the morning for 10 minutes instead of looking at my phone. And it has really helped with my anxiety. There's just too much information on Instagram, I think, or the internet and emails and all of that for my brain first thing in the morning. It's too much. So this is where I was last time. I finished the ribbing, and you can kind of tell the first 3 rounds of this, I knit on smaller needles because I wasn't paying attention. So these are 3.25 millimeter needles, I'm pretty sure. The thing about Xiaogu needles is even though it's laser etched on there, it's like in microscopic print. Yeah, these are 3.25 millimeter needles, and I knit the ribbing on 2.75 millimeter needles. That's not exactly what the pattern calls for. I want to say it's like 2.5 and 3, or maybe 3 and 3.5. Whatever the sizes were, I didn't have, and I couldn't get the right needle, so I'm like either a quarter of a millimeter smaller or bigger, I can't remember. But the hat fits me, so it's totally fine. So I've done my 4 inches of ribbing. And look, I have a beanie. Except that I need to do like 9 inches of stockinette because the sockhead hat, don't have to do all of the slouch, but I like the slouch. So yes, I switched my needles and now I'm doing my plain stockinette around and around and around, and this will just grow very slowly, 2, possibly 3 rounds a day for the next while. And just try it. Like if you have time in the morning, like even 10 minutes before the rest of your house wakes up to work on something that does not require thinking, just go around and around, whether it's knitting, whether it's crochet, doesn't matter. Just find something and then just let me know, report back. Let me know if it feels good to you, and because it certainly has felt good to me. Ugh. My back hurts, y'all. I need another pillow, I think. I need 2 pillows. I've been carrying Nova a lot this week, and my back is not appreciating it. Actually, my back has been hurting for a couple of weeks now. I don't know what I did. Probably pride. My foot also hurts because of pride. Okay. Crochet shawl time. There's been a little bit of work done on this. It's living in my famous knit club bag, which seems very appropriate for these days, let me tell you. We're not going to get into that because I don't want to be upset right now. So this is ice yarns. I'm still on the first ball. I have 400 grams of this. This is the first 100 grams. So I probably have done like 60 grams, maybe 70. So I think, I don't know where I was last time. I think maybe I was here last time. So I've only done this much. That's not very much, but it has grown a little bit. It looks like very, very, very speckly on the camera. I want to say like this, the ice yarns don't have colorway, like they have colorway names on the bag, but if you don't have the bag, you don't know the colorway name. So I'm just going to make up a name and call this Neapolitan, because doesn't it look like vanilla and chocolate and strawberry ice cream all together? I think it's really going to be a great giant shawl when it's done. It has this texture, which you can barely see. Ah, yes, you can see it right there. So this is the plain panel, and this is the textured panel. The textured panel is not like super working because of the speckling of this yarn, which I should have considered before I started making this, but I don't care. This is, again, a very mindless very easy 2-row repeat of a pattern, and I just am enjoying working on it. This pattern is not out. At some point it will be. And then maybe I can get a tester to make it in a solid yarn where it actually shows the texture of the pattern. How ridiculous. You'd think I've never designed a pattern before, honestly. Let's talk about the pattern that I'm designing that is currently giving me all the woes. It is my obsidian cardigan. I know some of you have been waiting for this project. Like, how long have you been waiting? 2 years? I started this a really, really, really long time ago. And I am at the collar. I'm halfway through the collar. So it is truly almost done. I just have to do the collar and the sleeve edgings and then figure out, like, the pattern is like rough draft written, meaning I've written pretty fairly detailed notes as I've gone along. But there is a problem. And let me show you the problem. There's my crochet hook. I'm making this out of Holstgarn Super Soft, which is a misnomer because it is neither. It is not super soft. I was gonna say it's not super or soft. It is super, it is not soft. This is non-superwash, very scratchy wool. It is not as scratchy as like some other up north yarns you could get, but it is not merino, okay? This is a light fingering, and this was a cone of 500 grams. I'm not sure how many grams are left because I haven't weighed it, but 500 grams of light fingering weight yarn, and I'm not even going to use 500 for the entire cardigan, and it's long and boxy. So that is a pretty good deal, especially because Holstgarn is quite reasonably priced. Like, I got 700 grams of Holstgarn. I do believe it was on sale at the time that I got it, but I want to say for 700 grams, including shipping from out of the country, it ended up being like $45. And so I think you could get probably all of the sizes of this cardigan out of 700 grams. I'm not sure. I haven't done all of the math yet. So what we have here is an obsidian cardigan. It's very stiff, very stiff. And as you can see, I have put the bottom border on, which is fabulous. And I am halfway through adding a 1-inch ribbed border, which you can't see because it's not long enough yet. I've only done 2 rows out of the 4 that I need to do. And the problem that I have run into is because I started this like 2 years ago, and I did something really fancy with the construction where you start at the back of, you see this ribbing? You basically start from the ribbing and work this way, and then you pick up on the back of the ribbing and work down, and then you're going to join under the arms, which sounds fabulous and is fabulous. However, I don't even know if I can show you this right now. Do you see this pucker? It is because I was like, back then, I was like, oh, I'll just make this part 1 inch shorter, and then when I add a 1-inch border, it will complete this 3 inches of ribbing. Yes, correct. However, I did not write or even think about how to do corner decreases. So I am in the position, as you can see, this one's kind of going that way and it should be going straight down. I'm kind of in the position of having to possibly chart out corner decreases for like 11 sizes. I've created a math problem for myself, which I'm like, oh my God, for the love of crochet. Like, why is this happening to me? Why? Because I never finish anything in a reasonable time frame. That's why. So I'm gonna put this on and show you. You can't really tell when it's on, which that's nice. So what we have is we have this big ribbed panel that goes all the way down the shoulder. I originally was going to do a ribbed edge on the sleeve cuffs, but I think I'm actually just going to do a really small, simple single crochet edge because this ribbing is already going this way. Another thing I didn't think about 2 years ago when I started this, and I don't want to change the direction of the ribbing. So I think I'm just going to do a really, really simple sleeve edging. This will have, well, you can kind of see the border, especially when it's on the pink. This will have 2 more rows, so it will look a little bit more ribbed. I really love the ribbing kind of ridge over the back of the neck and all the way down the sleeves. And let me stand up This is very stiff and very like not drapey right now because it has not been washed. But this is the bottom. This cardigan on me for the size that I have graded to, I can't quite get my whole self in the frame. Eee! You can see it goes right below my butt. This is actually about 1.5 inches longer than the pattern specifies for my size, or the pattern will specify for my size, because I was just happily crocheting along and the whole thing is supposed to be 27 inches and I got to 27 inches before I started the border, which was supposed to be 1 inch, but I liked it better at 1.5 inches. So mine's like 28.5 inches long, which I don't care. I don't mind it being a little bit long, and this is so light, it doesn't weigh itself down, which is an amazing thing about Holst Super Soft. It weighs nothing. Like this whole thing is probably 350 grams of yarn. I'm not sure. So yeah, I really have made a lot of progress. I am hoping to have the collar and sleeve cuffs done by the next podcast episode so that I can get started working on the pattern. Because this is a light fingering weight yarn, the testing time for this pattern, even once I get my act together and get the whole thing written, and it's gonna take a lot of writing, again, because I started this 2 years ago and some of my notes are like, I may have to like actually swatch to figure out what the heck I was saying. So let's give myself a solid like 4 months to write this pattern, and then probably another 4 months to get it tested, because a light fingering is no joke. So yeah, but it weighs nothing, and it's warm, but it's breathable. Like I'm wearing it and I'm not too hot. It is scratchy, but it's not bothering me, which is very weird because scratchy bothers me a lot, and it will soften up. Holskarn, and I think I need to put this in the pattern as well. Holskarn Super Soft is a yarn that feels like you are working with rough cobweb. Like it is so thin, and it has a lot of spinning oil on it and a lot of dye left on it. You can't see because it comes off in the shower, but my finger was black last night. It doesn't do this on all of the colors from what I understand, but it definitely will leave dye on your skin, and you need it to. Before you go thinking that's a bad thing, this is non-superwash yarn. So if I wanted to frog this whole thing, once this is washed and blocked, it's pretty much not happening because it's superwash, it's non-superwash, and so it's gonna lock, all those fibers are gonna lock together. So because there's so much spinning oil on this, it actually is a lot smoother of a crochet. It just looks very holy and not fluffy at all, but when you wash it, it goes poof and fluffs up, and it's beautiful. So I really am looking forward to blocking this. It's gonna be great. It's not gonna make the yarn merino soft. It's never gonna happen, but it is gonna make it fluffy and like beautiful and delicious and delightful. And the water's gonna be black because of how much dye and spinning oil is gonna come off of it. So definitely I would have concerns putting this and white together, or even the red one and the white one together, unless you were like color locking it in advance. But yeah, the obsidian cardigan is almost done, y'all. It's almost done. This one has got a lot of my time and effort the last 2 weeks, and I'm just really, really happy about it, except for the fact the border is bothering me. I don't mind so much on the sample of mine, like who cares if I fudge it a little bit. But when you're writing a pattern, guess what you can't do? Fudge it. Which means I have to math it. And that's hard. It's hard. Design something, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Who's they? It's me. I'm the they. I said it was gonna be fun. It is fun. And also, to explain this in a way that makes sense to people, what a job. What a job. I may do something I'm thinking about. I know that all of my patterns have row and stitch counters, which is kind of a signature. But in this particular design, the obsidian cardigan, it doesn't really need one. It will need one for the top shaping, like when you start at the back of the neck and you work both ways. But it doesn't really need one for the body. And I'll tell you why. Because it's just overkill. Like, let's say I have to do 100 rows or something. I don't need to check off 100 rows. I can just tell you, work until it's 27 inches. And however many rows that is fine. It doesn't matter. I know some people really like that. But it doesn't make sense to make that for this pattern because it's not, like for the granny stripe cardigan, I included a row and stitch counter because you make this from the outside in. It really matters how many rows you have. So you have how many rows, and then it matters how many rows you have for the back of the neck. But that one, it doesn't matter how many rows you're gonna have. It just doesn't. Just as long as you get to the inches. It matters how many rows until you get to the point where you join under the arms. And then at that point, who cares? Who cares? I have one more project to show you. And it is a knitted cardigan. It is my Darjeeling cardigan. In fact, the Darjeeling cardigan is a pattern by Knitting for Olive. I am still chugging away on the body. I had like grand dreams that I was gonna get all the way to the ribbing. What a laugh. This is what it looks like. What it will look like, I should say. I have had 0 questions about this pattern, truly. It is a very well-written pattern. The only thing I will say is proceed with caution because there's one photo in the whole pattern and there's no schematic. So if you want to do any changing of the sizes by yourself and doing your own math, you're going to have a difficult time. Because it does not, there's no room for that in the pattern. This is it. Oh my gosh. This is where I was last time. The top of this stitch marker. So I have done all of this. I want to say that is, let's find out, almost 5 inches that I have worked on this. And do you want to know what's insane? I'm still on the second 100 gram ball of fingering weight yarn. I don't understand how you get this much knitting out of 150 grams of yarn. This is Pearl Soho Tussock yarn. It is a mohair silk, and I'm holding double with Ula plus Leah 100% yak fingering weight yarn. I have 700 grams of this yak yarn, and I don't get it. I'm gonna have probably 400 grams left over. I bet you I will. Maybe 350, but like that's a lot of yarn. I could get a whole nother shirt out of that yarn. It's crazy. I am on my 3rd ball of the mohair silk out of 5 that I have, and I'm already kind of panicking that I'm not gonna have enough, but I know I did the math, I should have enough. I'm not gonna panic. This is what I keep telling myself until absolutely necessary. And I did not think this through because now I have to take this off again so that I can put the new cardigan on. It's just so comfy, I just wanna wear it. Okay, here we go. This is the cardigan, the cardigan, the cardigan. As you can see, I really like oversized, boxy-ish cardigans. I'm making this with less positive ease than is recommended in the pattern for my size. I just wanted it to be a little bit smaller, and I'm thinking I'm not gonna make the belt because I just don't want, I like an open cardigan. So it's very unlikely that I'm going to make the belt. So I wanted a little bit less ease so I could just wear it. This is a drop shoulder cardigan. So as you can see, the sleeve goes down to about here on me. It's stockinette, so it's rolling, but yeah, it goes down to like right about there. Armhole's pretty big, so we're gonna pick that up once the whole body is done. And as you can see, we have some increases going this way, and then it kind of meets in the middle. And right now, it's on a smaller needle, so I'm not gonna pull it too much because I don't want stitches to come off my needle, but it is right at my hip bone. And I don't know how many inches more I need to do, maybe like 2 or 3 inches of stockinette and then 4 inches of ribbing. So you can see, this is the ribbing that's on the edge right here. And this is where it transitions into plain stockinette. So it's got a 2x2 rib pattern going on. And I believe that that rib pattern is going to be continued for 4 inches on the bottom. I need to get to 24 3/4 inches. And then work, let's see, oh, my pattern is wrong. Oh yeah, 2x1. You have to know what you're doing because it just says work in established rib pattern, which means it's a 2x1 rib. This is not a beginner knitting pattern because it has German short rows in it, as well as things like work and pattern. But I haven't had any questions. Like, it's still a very well written pattern. Let's see if I can do this without getting it off the needles. I'm not quite sure how many inches I am at right now. Let's do just a rough measurement. It's really hard. The only thing I'll say is where they have you put the shoulder marker. I have this stitch marker right here. That's where you're supposed to measure from for the body, but it's really hard to do that because that's at the edge of stockinette that curls like crazy. So I don't know. It looks like I'm at about 22 inches. So give or take an inch because it's laying on my lap. And so I need to do another 2 3/4 inches-ish before doing 4 inches of ribbing. So I have about 6.5 inches total left on this cardigan. And I just am in love with it. Like, I can't believe how fast it's going. I can't believe how comfy and soft it is. For some reason, this yak yarn is like, my skin must love yak. I don't know why. I don't know why my skin loves yak, but I love this yarn, and the mohair silk is so nice and it doesn't bother me as well. So I'm really, really enjoying working on this. It has just been really delightful to have a project that's plain stockinette for the whole thing. I mean, I have to purl, which is annoying, but plain stockinette. I had to pause for a moment because I realized I didn't have any of the things I wanted to show you that have come into my life in the last 2 weeks. Now, one thing I purchased, and I will go ahead and show you it. It is More It Magazine issue 2. It's the second issue. If you are a crochet person, you need this. I was very behind on life, as I am in all things, since Nova has arrived. And I did not manage to get my copy from Claudia, who is Crochet Luna, because I would, of course, want to support her shop first and foremost. So I got this somewhere else. Online. If you're in the US, you can still get paper copies of this online. There are people who have it. It's More It Magazine. It is produced by Allison, who is from the KCACY, Keep Calm KC, and Knit On, Keep Calm and Carry On podcast. Well, now I don't know what that stands for. It's definitely Keep Calm and her and her mom Vivian have this podcast where Allison lives in Edinburgh and her mom lives in America, and it's just a beautiful, lovely podcast, and Allison crochets and her mom knits, and it's gorgeous, and you should check it out. And in 2018, I got to have dinner with her in Edinburgh and Claudia because my husband and I were there on a vacation that we'd planned for like years and years. And Claudia also happened to be there at the same time. So we managed to get dinner, and Allison was there, and she was talking about wanting to do this magazine. And it is like in real life, issue 2. They're like already probably almost done with production for issue 3, I would think. And it's just beautiful. And so I knew that I had to support her and get a copy. I have copy 1 around here somewhere as I look into the living room, into the abyss. So I want to show you just some of the patterns that are in here. So first of all, there's one called Low Tide, which is like a t-shirt with bobbles. This is the one that I am most interested in. It's the cover pattern. Ah, yes. Oh, here's a sticker. This is where I got it from, Fiberspace. That's where I got the magazine from. This one is called Kahina, and it is a t-shirt, long sleeve t-shirt. It's just gorgeous. I don't know what in the world I'm gonna make this in because it's made in Knitting for Olive pure silk. So I don't know if I can get my hands on that yarn, but I'll have to try to find some kind of yarn to make that in. That's the one I'm most interested in. There is a like shawl that looks like that. There is this called Wild Rose. There's a market bag. Oh, the market bag was designed by Faye. So cool. There's one other one in here that I was pretty interested in making, and where did it go? There's a feature on the Berlin Yarn Company. There's another sweater. There's a cowl. this. This is called Spinadrift. Isn't that pretty? It's just so pretty. So yeah, all of the pictures, this is like, when I say this is a high-end magazine, what I mean is it has all of the pictures in like very artsy style up front. And so the patterns are actually at the back, and there's a lot of patterns, and there's a whole thing in here on tamarind, and there's like a recipe. So the patterns are at the back, and then I'll show you, like on every pattern, there's this QR code, and if you scan it on your phone, it will pull up pictures, because these are very like artsy photos, right? But it'll pull up them people just actually holding the item, or like wearing it straight head on, not doing anything fancy with their arms, so that you can see how it drapes on a real person, which I very much appreciate. So Morat Magazine, highly recommend. It is beautiful. It is well produced, well edited. It is a gorgeous thing that the crochet community has access to. And normally this kind of stuff only exists for knitting, such as Pom Pom and Lane. Every once in a while, Pom Pom will do like a crochet pattern, but it's not their like goal. And this is amazing. So highly recommend Morat Magazine. You should get your hands on a copy. You can get an e-copy as well, probably on their website, but definitely on Ravelry also. The next thing I want to show you is some yarn. So several podcasts ago, I told you that I had spent a Saturday with my friend Maria, who is the dyer behind the former yarn company Fat Bunny Yarn, and she has since closed her yarn company, and she now works for another yarn company called Olive and 2U. So she does not dye yarn for purchase anymore, but she had some leftover yarn, like blank yarn, and she invited me over to, like, we basically dyed yarn together so I could see what the process was like. It was a lot of work, y'all. Like, yarn dyers out there, oh my gosh. Like, I'm like blown away by the fact that y'all do this, because this is kind of like hot, hard, back-breaking work a little bit. And there's so much that could go wrong, and it's such a long process. It's just fascinating to me to spend the day with her. And we dyed sock blanks, and we dyed some yarn for a sweater, and then she dyed some yarn for a sweater for her. So I had coffee with her last Saturday, and the yarn, this was like 4 months ago maybe, the yarn was delivered. Oh, I'm so excited. So the first thing I'm going to show you is some sock blanks. She dyed this one. It's not this is the best color on the planet. When I said that I was going to make another sockhead hat, it's going to be this. This is going to be a neon pink sockhead hat for yours truly. Maria dyed this one. I told her I wanted it to melt your eyeballs, and it does. Beautiful. It's just straight pink. And then these two, I kind of splatter dyed, I guess. So this one is kind of like constellations. And this looks very similar to what I had put on the table. So like it was laid out on the table, and I was like dotting it and splattering it, and it looks like a universe or a galaxy to me. And this looks very, very similar. So it's really cool looking. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this, but it's so cool. As you can see, this is the first thing I did, was make these 4 dots, and then I made that, and then I just started like making it look better. So it's got that random black spot. So that was really cool. And then this one looks kind of like, I like more painted on this one. So I made these flowers, and you can kind of tell that they were once flowers. Like, these were supposed to be flowers down here. They're just blobs. I don't know what that was supposed to be, but this used to be a smaller, more defined flower, and it just was like, la! And then all of this yellow was actually suns. So I made like a curtain swoops across the top and filled it in with yellow, and the yellow spread everywhere, which was not my plan necessarily, but I really like it. So I don't know what in the world these would knit up like, or crochet up like. I have no idea, but it was so much fun. It was so much fun to dye sock blanks, and Maria dyed a few as well for herself. So that was super duper fun. And I just breathed in some dust. Anytime you're working with yarn, you know. So the other thing that she dyed, and she is completely responsible for dyeing this, I had no hand in it other than being like, yeah, pink. a sweater's quantity. This is, I believe, a worsted yarn, although it looks a little bit thin to me. I bet I could get away with knitting this on a DK gauge. This is, I don't know, does this colorway have a name, Maria? Melt Your Eyeballs Pink. This is showing up pretty true to color. It is hot, hot, hot pink, which is exactly what I was looking for. I adore neons. Neons make me feel so happy, like neon pink, neon yellow, electric blue, like electric lime green. I just love it. This is going to be the Mix and Match sweater, which is a pattern by Nina, who is the knitting expat. She has, it will be a plain stockinette version because there's 2 versions of that pattern and one of them has texture, and I don't want to be bothered with that. But hot pink! Hot pink! I'm so excited. So yes, this was possibly the best thing ever in the world. As you can see, look at that pink yarn. It is the most magical thing on the planet. I am very, very, very excited to be in the same house as this yarn. I'm not going to be casting this on right away. I'm going to finish my Darjeeling cardigan. After the Darjeeling cardigan, I want to make something in the round, and I don't really want to have more than one pattern on the go that is knitting as far as garment is concerned at a time. I don't mind having multiple crochet cardigans on the go, but I really don't want to have more than one knitted garment on the go. I don't know why, it's just my thing. So once the Darjeeling cardigan is finished, then I will be casting on the Cozy Classic Raglan, which is a pattern by Jessie May. And once that is finished, because that one I want for this winter, I will then be casting on the Mix and Match cardigan in this hot, 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 hot pink yarn, which I could not be more excited about. Not only was it delightful to spend a whole day with Maria and just be doing this, it was just like so cool to see her process. Also, I told y'all last time that my local yarn store Stash closed. It is officially closed now. There's still one in Tampa, but that's kind of like far for me to get to. But what came out of that is I didn't realize there was another yarn store. It's not exactly close. It's like 25 minutes away from me. But when I met Maria to get that yarn, we went also to this yarn store called Creativity. And I will show you. That is what the name of it is. It's like Creativity with an I. Creativity in Largo. They have a huge amount of yarn. They have way more yarn than Stash ever had. Like, in about the same amount of space. Like, they have a huge room that's all Rowan yarn, which is crazy. They have like a clearance bin. They have all kinds of notions, all kinds of hand-dyed yarn. It just was incredible to be in there. Of course, Nova was with me, so I didn't really look that hard. I was mostly making sure she didn't destroy the place. But I always want to support, like, anytime I can go to a local yarn store and just like even give them $10 if that's what's in my budget. Like, I want to do that because I want them to stay around, you know? So I didn't have time to look at yarn. Maybe someday I'll go back when Nova's not with me. But I got a stitch marker from Twice Sheared Sheep. It's like a little star. And I bought this because Nova liked it. And then I got some Cocoa Knits Jumbo stitch markers. So these are just plain circular knitting stitch markers. And I really have needed some of these. I have a lot of the little light bulb open-y closey ones, but I just have needed some plain round stitch markers that are not like this and fancy. Just plain, don't get caught in your knitting, snag free stuff. And so they had this for, I don't know, a few dollars. So I picked up that. So that was my haul from the yarn store. Someday I'll go back. It was on a Saturday morning and there were people there knitting. And they let Nova play with this stuffed llama, which was really cute. It was just a really, really cool store. So if you're around this area, I highly recommend trying out Creativity. I didn't even know it existed. Crazy me. It's not even that far from my house. The last thing I want to show you is for the Cozy Classic Raglan. I will be casting this on once the Darjeeling cardigan is finished. And I've showed you the yarn for it already. It's living in this giant bag. It's not wound up yet. So this is 4 skeins of DK, and my plan was to do a fade like this but I wasn't quite sure if I would have enough yarn, maybe or maybe not, I'm not sure. But I was gonna do a fade with these DK skeins of yarn. My friend Amanda watched that and she was like, oh, I'll just send you some that might work with your fade. And I just don't understand why people are so generous. So these are the 4 original skeins, which also came from Amanda. So there's another skein of this. So these 2 go together. And then I'll show you. So I would definitely have, this could be the Cozy Classic Raglan in a fade. There's also this really, really gray one, which could plug in here. Yes, that could work. There's this, which is Aya Fibers. It is Merino DK in the colorway Graffiti. That's very, very similar, so I feel like that could go as well. Yeah, that one even looks even better, I think, because it has a hint of blue in it, and this has a hint of blue in it. This is Skein Cocaine Royal DK in the colorway something I cannot read. That's very green. And then there's an Autumn and Indigo Fibers in the colorway Mesa. So I'm trying to decide, like, how does the fade go now? Start here, go here. Like, I feel like this, definitely these 4. And then which one should go on the end? Because this has a hint of blue, so it could be this one. Could be this one. That looks really good. Could be back to this. Yeah, I think these 2 go really good together. I think it might be that. Like, that might work. I don't know. What I think I have to do is put all of this yarn in the bag and then really, really lay it out. And arrange it all when I'm ready to cast it on. But I think that like, definitely this, definitely these 4, and probably this at the end for the ribbing is what I'm thinking. And then, I mean, I feel like there'd be enough here to do a whole nother, some kind of garment like this. That's crazy, y'all. And what had happened was I opened this last night. I didn't open it last night. It came in the mail last night, so Wednesday night. And my husband put it inside, and I couldn't get to it because part of my job as a pastor is being available for people, and someone really needed me. And thankfully my husband was able to take the baby. Like, he got home at 6 p.m. and then I disappeared until after she was in bed, from someone who just needed to talk about stuff that's going on in their life. And that is my job. And I'm happy to do it. But it does take up a lot of emotional energy, and I was already feeling like just very exhausted that day. And I just didn't have anything left at the end. I didn't have anything left. So I like clocked that there was some mail, and I just went to bed. And then this morning I opened it and I was like, oh my gosh. In fact, I haven't even texted Amanda yet to be like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful and so unnecessary and so amazing. So it's gonna be the best Cozy Classic Raglan you've ever seen. Mark my words. Thank you, Amanda. That's very nice of you. And I am gonna get to meet Amanda in October. I'm very excited about that. Very excited. In person. How exciting. There also in the package she sent was a crochet.com magazine, and I have vaguely remember crochet.com existing. What I did not realize was that it's knit packs. Knit picks, I go on knit picks all the time. Crochet.com is knit picks for crochet. They have a whole separate website for crocheters. And this is their magazine. Just like I get a knit picks magazine. Every once in a while they send like a paper magazine with their yarn. And like, what? I didn't realize that was a thing. And she sent this because there's some really pretty patterns in here. Like that one I think is gorgeous. It's a bit too long for me, but I bet you could shorten it with no problem. These are really pretty as well, especially this. This is the Solstice at We Crochet collection. So yeah, and then I was flipping through it and I was like, oh my gosh, Stroll, Hawthorne, this is Knit Picks yarn, but they're making a whole separate thing for crocheters, which I thought was really, really fabulous of them to do. And I feel like there was one more pattern in here that I wanted to show you because it was amazing and I can't find it. This is riveting podcast content. Watch me while I flip through. Oh yeah, this, found it. It's called a Sedona sweater. Isn't that so pretty? I love that. I love the striping. The Sedona sweater, I wonder what kind of crochet that is. It almost looks like Tunisian to me, but I bet you it's not. It does look seamed, however. Which I don't know how I feel about making a seamed garment at the moment. It's just really, really cool. So, I don't know where to go from all of that. Let me tell you, I'm feeling a little hyped up at the moment. Life has been crazy the last 2 weeks. As I said, I had 2 whole weekends where I barely touched yarn. Last weekend was Pride. So we were in the Pride Parade. So I was out from about 11 a.m. until 6 or 7 p.m. Yeah, I think Nova was in bed before I got home, so it had to be at least 7. And then Sunday, the following day, there was the Grand Central Street Festival, which is they close off an entire mile of this particular avenue in St. Petersburg, and you have booths and vendors and all things like that. So I had church in the morning, which is right next to it, and then I walked a mile to our booth and stayed there until the end at 5 p.m. and then we had to pack everything up and haul it back a mile. And I was pretty much dead on Monday. That was like 2 12-hour work days in the heat. So Monday, I dropped her off at the babysitter and went back to bed. I just couldn't do anything else. And I was very, very, very tired on Monday last week, but it didn't really hit me until Tuesday, which I found interesting. Like Monday, I was really okay, and Tuesday, I was a mess. So there was that. Of course, there was a lot going on with Roe v. Wade being overturned as well, which I don't think I have the emotional capacity today to talk about that, because I get very emotional about it, and specifically because of everything that I've been through with Nova and everything that I've been through with my ectopic pregnancy, which if you've been around a long time, you will know all about. I just don't think I have the space to get into that today, because I don't want to spend the rest of the day in that mind space. But if I can in the future, I will talk about it. But that was heavy as well, because so many people needed me to process. Like I said, I'm a pastor, it's my job. So I spent hours and hours talking to people via text about what was happening and helping them just kind of navigate through their feelings about it. And then there was Pride. And then last weekend, what did we do? I feel like we did something. Friday night, I don't remember. Oh, Friday night, Josiah and I went out and had a date night after Nova went to sleep. One of my beautiful friends and members of my church came over after she went to bed, and we just went and had dinner like 3 miles away for a couple of hours, which was nice. We didn't get bed till 10:30, which is late for me. And then the following morning, I went out and had coffee with my friend Maria and got that yarn and took Nova. And then I came home and Josiah took over for Nova at about 1 p.m. and I left to go pick up my best friend, Caitlin, because it was her birthday on Monday last week, and I took her out for a blowout, which is like when you get your hair did. I did not book myself a blowout because I have like 2 inches of hair, but she really enjoyed that. And then we went to dinner and we stayed out really late, so I didn't get to bed till 11:30 on a school night, y'all. At 10:30 on Friday, 11:30 on Saturday, and then I had to get up and do church on Sunday, and that was tough, I'm not gonna lie. And I feel like we did something on Sunday. I think Josiah went out to see some friends And then 4th of July was on Monday, so it's just been like I haven't touched yarn in all of those days. Nova lived her best life on 4th of July. She was in bed at 7. She slept through all of the fireworks. I know she had bad quality of sleep because she was a crankopotamus the next day, let me tell you. But she did not wake up or cry during the fireworks, which was nice. But we went to the beach in the morning, and there was no competition for parking because we got there at 8:30. Nobody else was there. And we left at like 10. And someone was very lucky to get our spot by that point. So she loves the beach. It's her favorite place in the world. And then we came home and she was pretty much wiped out. We vacuumed out the cars because we're adults. And babies are disgusting. Let me tell you how much dirt and goldfish crumbs were in the car. So we vacuumed out the cars. I fed her lunch. She passed out for like 2.5 hours for her nap. Then when she got up, we went to Gulfport, which is a little tiny city, like with a really adorable like downtown area that's about 6 miles away from us. And she had her first ice cream. I think she may have had one bite of ice cream in her life, but she's never had an ice cream. And so we got her like cookies and cream, homemade, this like little local ice cream place. And she loved it, but thought it was too cold. So she had like 4 or 5 bites and then she was like, cold, and wouldn't eat anymore, which is hilarious. So she had ice cream and then we went to the park. She loved that. And it was just a really great day. She learned how to use a fork just randomly. Like I keep giving her the fork and she just doesn't use it. And then randomly she was like, I know how to do this, and just started stabbing things and eating them. Blows my mind. She's talking so much. Pretty much anything you try to say, she's saying back to you. There was a lizard trapped inside in between the screen and the window of our kitchen, and it was there, and I was just like, whatever, it's a lizard. But my mom took pity on it and set it outside, and it has been the subject of conversation for like 2.5 weeks now. Every morning, and sometimes at dinner time, she's like, lizard, and she'll point at the door and say ma, which is grandma, and then say side, outside. I'm like, yes, grandma put the lizard outside, and she accepts this. And then later she's like, lizard, side, ma. I'm like, yes, I know, I was there. I witnessed the lizard being put outside. She just is enamored with this lizard, who is now living its best life outside. I hope it didn't die. So that's everything that's been going on. It's been a lot. And it's July now. And the next couple of weeks are gonna be crazy as well, because I'm officiating 8 weddings in the next 2.5 weeks. So I have a wedding tomorrow and Saturday, Monday, then next Friday, Saturday, and Monday, and then that following Friday and Saturday. That's a lot of weddings. But at the very last weekend in July, on the 29th, it's a Friday, my mom is going to stay the night and be with Nova all day and all night that night. And I and Josiah are going to go have a hotel night away. It's our first night that we will be away from the baby since she was born. I will only be like 5 miles away. And I completely 1000% trust my mom. I don't think there'll be any issues whatsoever. And I'm still nervous about leaving her. And I desperately want a night away. And I booked some stuff that's like non-refundable, so we have to go. We have just like a random hotel. It's not like a fancy hotel, but it's like a hotel. It's not a $60 hotel, but it's also not a fancy one. Well, who cares? We're just gonna be sleeping there. So we booked ourselves massages for Friday morning that day. And then by the time that's done, we'll have time to get lunch and then check into our hotel at 3. And then at 6, we have a reservation for dinner at a local Italian place that's really, really good. And then that's it. Then the next morning we'll get up, we'll sleep in until whopping 6:30 a.m. probably. Maybe I can sleep in a little longer. And then we'll come home, I guess. Maybe we'll have breakfast. I don't know. It's crazy. So yeah, there's just a lot going on, and I am a bit overwhelmed by everything, and I have been putting out a lot to people the last 2 weeks, which I enjoy doing, and it's a privilege to do. And also I'm really tired. And I don't know, like when you have a baby, it's not like you get a break to recharge really. So I'm just gonna have to navigate this until it lifts a little bit. It should lift. next week, because hormonally that will be a better week. So yeah, there's a lot of rambling, y'all, but leave me a comment below. Let me know what you're working on. Let me know how your progress is going on the Cozy Summer Mal. Shay, send me your address so I can send you the prize of a bag and alpaca yarn, and maybe I will have the obsidian cardigan done by next week. Maybe. Would be so exciting. And thank you so much for being here. If you are a longtime viewer, thank you so much for coming back every 2 weeks. And if you are new around here, I just appreciate your presence and your help in making this a really safe, welcoming space for all people to enjoy crafting on the internet. Thank you for all the comments you leave. I think I'm caught up as of today. But I'm always a little bit behind on responding to them, but please know I read every single one and I try to respond as much as possible, because I really value your contributions and everything that you bring to this space. So happy July. Until I see you again in 2 weeks, happy crafting, be kind to yourself, and I will see you soon. Bye, friends.